Do in Maimer Melukit in Chele Gimel, this is the 55th Maimer. The Maimer Va'ata Yigdal no koyach adnai kasher dibart lamer. This was said in Shabbos Parshas Shlach, which was the 28th day of Sion. It was Mevorchim HaChodesh Tamuz in Teish Tovshin Yud Tes. And they bring down in the note over here that this was printed in a kuntris called the Booklet of Chavches Sivan Tovshin Memtes. That was the date over there was Erev Shabbos Kodesh Mevorchim Tamuz Tovshin Memtes, and this was published in honor towards the Yom HaBoyer, this clear day of the 28th day of Sion, which is coming upon us. That's from the introduction, from the booklet, when they printed it in Tovshin Memtes, and he says that's the day, on the 28th day of Nisan, in which the Rebbe, Kved Kedushas Ad Mushlita, and the Rabbonis HaTzitkon, the righteous Rebbe's and Nishmosim Eiden, Yibodel, the Chaim, L'Chaye Chaim, the Rebbe and the Rebbetzin, they both came from the Emek HaBocha, or the European Emek HaBocha, and they reached successfully to the United States. That was Monday, the 28th day of Sivan in the year Tafshin Aleph. At that point, a new raised on a new level in the strengthening and the spreading of Torah and Yiddishkeit and spreading of the wellsprings by the previous Rebbe Nishmos Eiden, when he founded the three central institutions, Machne Yisrael, Kohos, and Merkaz L'Inyan Chinam, and he gave them under the Hanhola, the leadership of the Rebbe. So that's the Chavches Sivan, the day that the Rebbe Rebbetzin came here, and that's really taken as the day in which there was a major increase in the development of the Yiddishkeit, spreading Torah, Yiddishkeit, the Torah, Vatsamoyonis, and all the Inyanim through the Rebbe's appointment as the Menahel, as the leadership of the three central organizations of Machne Yisrael, and Merkaz L'Inyan Chinuch, and Karnei HaTorah, the publishing arm. Let's learn the Maimer now inside. ועתה יגדל no koyach adnai kasher dibart lamer. So this was Moshe Rabbeinu was praying to Hashem for the Meraglim after the sin of the Meraglim. So he says, "Va'ato yigdal no koyach adnai." Let the power of Adnai increase as you have spoken, saying. Upirush Rashi. So what does it mean? Hashem spoke. It says yigdal no koyach adnai, as you had spoken. Where did Hashem say yigdal no koyach adnai? Moshe Rabbeinu is davening to Hashem that the koyach adnai should increase as Hashem has spoken. Where has Hashem said that? Upirush Rashi. So Rashi says, Umahu hadibur. What is this dibur that Hashem? So over there he says Hashem erech hapayim, that Hashem prolongs his anger. Now over there is not the exact words of Yigdal no koyach adnai, let the power of Adnai increase, but that, as you have spoken, refers to the Yud Gimel Midas Arachmim. Hashem said Hashem erech hapayim, which Moshe Rabbeinu has used before in the posik, Hashem erech hapayim. That's what he means, Kasher dibart lamer, because this is really what Hashem has taught him. Say that you give him the sarachim, but Hashem spoke. Because why is Rashi explaining here? Because the simple meaning of the posik when it says "kasher dibart," as if the Eibishter said beferish, "Va'ata yigdal no koyach adnai," as you spoken, but we don't find it in the posik anywhere that Hashem said yigdal no koyach adnai. Mashmos loshna kosu bepashtusi. The simple meaning of the posik is shadibur da Kodesh Baruch Hu kasher dibarto. That what was the dibur of Kodesh Baruch Hu? When we say like you have spoken, that would be the simple meaning kasher dibarto. But we don't find that. That's what Rashi needs to explain. What did Hashem speak? That is the Shem Erech Hapayim. So Rashi needs to explain that Kasher Debarto wasn't Yigdal no Koyach Adnai. We don't find that, but it means Hashem Erech Hapayim. But the fact still remains that the pashtus in the pasuk, it seems like Kasher Debarto, as if Hashem said Yigdal no Koyach Adnai. But from the fact that this pasuk is said in such a manner, in which the understanding is that the dibur was that the koyach adnai should increase. So it is understood, it's mashma, that the intent of the pasuk is also, as Hashem said, the yigdal no koyach adnai. Okay, the isa b'gemara, and like we find that in the Gemara, that when Moshe came up into the heavens, Amar le HaKadosh Baruch Hu le Moshe. So Hashem says to Moshe, Hoy l'chol ezreini. This is in the Gemara, in the Sugya from Matan Torah. When Moshe went up, Matan Torah, Hashem says to him, you should have helped me. What do you mean? Loimar, to say, titzlach malach tacho, let your work be successful, which means that you should have sort of supported me and helped me out. What does it mean? To say, be successful. Because the Eibishter was saying to Moshe Rabbeinu, he was seeing that the Eibishter was forgiving the Yidden, so you should say to Hashem, Tislach Machtacha, you should be successful in your forgiving. So miyad, Amaloi, so immediately, Moshe Rabbeinu says, Va'ata yigdal no koyach adnai kasher dibarto. Let the strength of Adnai be strength, as you had spoken. You have told me that I should support you, kasher dibarto, like you spoke. So what is the dibarto? The dibarto is that ato yigdal no koyach adnai, because tislach malachtecha. I knew the kasher dibarto koyi al ha'amira, specifically, that goes as dibarto hoya l'chol ha'asreimi. You said you should have supported me, so this is what I'm saying now. What is the meaning le'ozreini? The inyan le'ozreini sheyiya ezer heisofa ba'koyach shalamaylo. So what does it mean to help? The help means yigdal not. That is to be a help means an addition in the koyach of above. Who yigdal koyach adnai. That is the meaning of the increase in the power of Adnai. That's the Lozrein when Hashem said to him. So in this context, from the Gemara, we see like the Pashto Pshat, Va'ata yigdal no kasher dibarto. You have said to increase Ozreini yigdal no koyach adnai. So now we have two pirushim. Rashi says that dibarto is Hashem Erech Hapayim, and the Gemara and the Pasha Posik is that kasher debart yigdal nokoyach adnai, or what Hashem said lo zreni. And the Rebbe adds v'yesh lahisif, so we can add further over here that the Emerson, the mashmos loshon hakosuv, it's not just kasher debarto yigdal nokoyach Hashem kasher debarto. You told me to help you, but kasher debarto lamer. Mashpos, let's not call it kasher debarto lamer who shahad dibur HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That was because he spoke lamer, the dibur HaKadosh Baruch Hu lamer shemoishe yoimad, that Moshe should say that not Moshe should say this tislach malachtecha, the increase yigdal nokoyach. Ukamuvan gami maimer azal hanal the kasher debarto koyi. And I understand that from this above, by Merazal, it's not just like Hashem says, Yigdal nokoyach adnai, by saying it to Moshe Rabbeinu say that, but it's part of it is that Moshe should actually say that. This is what Hashem says to Moshe, you should have helped me. So that Moshe Rabbeinu says, may your word succeed. So we have kasher dibarto Hashem erech hapayim. We have kasher dibarto Hashem says yigdal nokoyach adnai, because that Hashem says lo zreni, and kasher dibarto that Moshe should say Moshe yomer. Is move on. That Gimel Pirushim Elu. What is the kasher dibarto? Shekoyi al yigdal koyach adnai, which is the poshut pshat in the posik, and al lamer that kasher dibarto lamer that Moshe should say it, and also al Hashem erech hapayim, as Rashi brings down. Shayochim zelozeh are connected one another, but tzorich love and Hashaych is the Gimel Pirushim Elu. So we need to understand the connection of these three interpretations. Base. Yesh loim ad nekudas habir bezeh. We can say the point of the explanation is the bakoshas Moshe Ba'ata Yigdal nokoyach adnai goimer Hashem erech hapayim. Goimer he k'moshe mamshich b'kosuf v'slachno lavein hazeh o mazeh. So what is the point? So the Rashi, what the Rebbe said before, had to explain, because in the pasuk it followed by after Yigdal nokoyach Hashem erech hapayim. Why did Rashi have to say that? Because after kasher debarto lamer, it seems like after Yigdal nokoyach adnai, not Hashem erech hapayim. That follows what the Rebbe said before. So the purpose of all this is the pasuk says slachno la'avein homazeh, to gain, please, the forgiveness of this people, which is mechila, slicha v'kapora, forgiving, an atonement for the sin of the meraglim. V'hinei b'slicha shnei inyonim. In forgiveness, there's two aspects. The shoyresh has-slicha hu mebechinas shelamaylo mehishtalshelus. Where does forgiveness come from? It comes from above. It comes from above, and it has to reach below. The root of this slicha, where does slicha come from? That is from a level which is higher than the ishtalshelus. Why does it have to be l'maylo mehishtalshelus? Because in order to fulfill the blemish, so over there it needs to come down from such a high place that does not have any connection to blemishes. is beyond. It's beyond the ishtalshlus. So to fill the pagam, it needs to come from a higher place in which pagam doesn't fill, but it has to come down. But in order for it to, for the forgiveness to take place, that it should be milui hapagam, to fulfill the blemish bepoil. In actuality, it needs to draw it down below. In the place in which the pagam was. ועתה יגדל no koyach adnai gomer havaya erech apayim. The sar shalemailo mishtalshlus. That the higher, the sar higher than shtalshlus. The root of this slicha comes from Hashem erech hapayim. That's where the root is, the Ma'ila Mishtalshlus, which is Yud Gimel Midas Sarachabim, the 13 attributes of mercy, Shalamayla Mishtalshlus, which is above Mishtalshlus. The Yigdal Koyach Adnai, and what is Yigdal Koyach Adnai means? Hushatia Hamshocha Lamato Ba'adnai. That is so that the Hamshocha should extend and go down below into the level of Adnai, B'chdei L'sakin HaPagam, in order to correct the blemish. The Shem Adnai who Malchus, why specifically Adnai Yidna Koyach Adnai, to fix the Begam of Adnai, is because the name of Adnai is in level of Malchus. Begam, the Chet HaMeraglim, and the blemish, where did the blemish of the sin of the Meraglim, Shelerotzu, the mitzvahs Maisiyos, they refused. They didn't want to do the practical mitzvahs. So Malchus, that's in the level of Malchus. Validei ha'hagdola the koyach adnai niskan v'nismal ha'pagam. Through the hagdola, which is to fulfill, taking from the shorish haslicha, from Hashem erech hapayim, and through the increase of koyach adnai into Malchus, niskan v'nismal ha'pagam, it was corrected and the blemish was filled. To understand this idea more specific, more detail, will understand it by first pointing out the specific language of the pasuk. It says, "Va'ata yigdal no koyach adnai." It says the power of Adnai should increase. The Shnei Perushim Bazeh, there is two meanings, explanation, two interpretations in the Yigdal no Koyach Adnai. The Mekama Drushim in many of the Maimorim Mevuah explained the Pirush Yigdal Koyach Adnai. What does it mean to increase the power of Adnai? Hu sheyumshach ba'adnai hakoyach shaloi. That within Adnai should be extended the power, the koyach Adnai, the power of the root, the root of Adnai should be revealed in Adnai. The koyach of Adnai is the root and the source of Adnai. That way, Adnai will be increased. So basically, to tap into the root, and the root should be nimshach. The koyach of Adnai should be nimshach in Adnai. Vapirush the yigdal koyach Adnai bepashtus who. But in simple is not just the root, but yigdal koyach Adnai simply means and also explains so in many Maimorim. Shatia hagadol gam. not only that the koyach should be revealed in Adnai, but there should be an increase in the koyach of Adnai. Yuvon Yoser, and according to this, that there is an increase, not just in revealing the koyach into Adnai, but that there is an increase in the koyach of Adnai. Yuvon Yoser, it will be understood more. Hashaych the Yigdal no koyach Adnai lavaya rechapayim, the increase of the koyach Adnai to the pasuk that follows Hashem rechapayim Yud Gimel Midas Arachmim Shalamayla Mihishtalshlus, the 13 attributes which are higher than Ishtalshlus. Kibichdei Sheyia Shatia HaGdola Bekoyach Adnai, because in order for it to be an increase in the power of Adnai, which is this source, the root and the source of Adnai, that is by drawing down from a level which is higher than Ishtalshlus, also which is higher than the root and the source of Ishtalshlus. So we need to get from the Shol Yud Gimel Midas Arachamim to increase the power of Adnai, even the Mokar of Adnai. That is through Ishtalshlus. Dalit. So what is the specific Adnai and the Koyach Adnai? And then we add to the Koyach, add to the source. We'll explain now that's the level of Malchus and Chochmah. But you know, the idea is the Shem Adnai who the Malchus Kenal. The name Adnai Malchus is mentioned earlier. The Koyach Adnai and the power of Adnai, which is Hashodesh U'Moker the Malchus, that's the root and the source of Malchus of the Chochmah. That is Chochmah, because we say the Abba, which is Chochmah, the father, which is Yosad Brata, is the basis, founded the daughter, which is Malchus. And the Koyach, therefore, of Adnai, of Malchus, is Chochmah. Yuvan Zal Derech Moshul, Ma'osi HaDibur, Ma'osi Yos HaDibur Sheba Adam. So by way of example, we can understand it from the Oisios, the letters of speech that are in the person. Letters of speech represents Malchus. The Malchus, the Chlal, who Dibur. Generally, in Malchus is Dibur. The level of Malchus is the level of Dibur. Sheshorsham, so the letters that are in Dibur, the root of the letters is higher than the light that's in the Dibur, which is the Seichel of the Midah, which is dressed in them. So you have the idea that the person gives over using these words, and the letters of those words come from a higher place than the intellect or the emotion which dress up in these words. The fact that the same idea, every person will say it using different letters, using different words. Why is that? Because the root of letters is from the level of Chochmah, which is Seichel Hanelam, the hidden Seichel, the hidden intellect, the Kadmus HaSeichel Shebenefesh, and the earliest of Seichel in the soul, Shalomaylam Seichel Hagoli, which is above Seichel Hagoli. What dresses up openly is the Seichel Hagoli. That is what dresses up in the idea that you're giving over. But the Oisios, they come from Kadmus HaSeichel, Lashon in the Tanya, that means in the hidden part of the revealed seichel. It's in a higher place than the revealed seichel. Zeu hatam, and this is also the reason because we're saying that oisius come even from a higher place. So first of all, he said before, the same idea says different words, is because it's not bound by that seichel. It's not below, it's in a higher place of the seichel. But this is also the reason, the fact that the letters come from even a higher place than the seichel itself is also the reason al zesh al yidei shemevi es seichel b'dibur, that by bringing down the seichel in the level of dibur, in the level of speech, so then actually is mitoisef behaseichel yoser b'kemoisha hoya b'tchila. It's added to the seichel more than it was in the beginning, b'machshove, in thought. Ki al yidei hadibur nimshich mebchinas hachochma shoyd shemokar haseichel. If you once you bring down an idea and you talk about it, then the seichel is increased. Then you had more than you had it before when it was in your thought, because the speech you bring down from the level of chokhmah, which is the hidden seichel, which is the source and the root of seichel. And that's the reason. It's all because the oisius, the shoydish, comes from a higher place than the seichel al. Hine zeh shoydish al dibur b'chokhmah hu lo yirak benegeya la'dibur atzmei. That is not just that the root of dibur is in chokhmah. It's not just the speech itself. When the seichel and the midas dress up in dibur, then that gets the root in the chokhmah. Because through them dressing up in dibur, they are split up into many parts. Let's say he talks words of love. So the love by itself is just one emotion. It's not split up. But when it dresses up in the letters and the words of speech, now it's split up into several words. In each word, there is a portion of the midah that he is talking about. And therefore, so in each part, so now you're taking that one ab and you split it up into various parts. Similarly, when he speaks, he gives some intellectual idea. The idea is one idea. But when this idea dresses up in the words and in the letters and the words of the speech, then it's split up to several parts. So this, that the seichel and the midas come to split up, even though in their own they're simple, but they get split up. That is through the fact that the level of chokhmah, the kadmus haseichel, goes down to them. That allows them to be split up. Both. It's about Pizayu. So based on this that we're saying now, that you get from the level of chokhmah and splits it up, we understand more the reason, or the fact by bringing down the intellect into speech, you add in the grasp of the seichel more than it was before. Ki hakoyach shemechalek es hasvara beishis hadibur, because that power that splits the idea into the letters of speech, shorshoyhu bekadmus hasechel. The root is in the earliest stages of the sechel. Hamoker the sechel hagoli, which is the source of the revealed sechel. So that's why, because what brings it into that splitting, into this ideas, that's the kadmus hasechel, moker sechel. This is also the reason. Sometimes when you learn something in just thinking, and there are very strong questions aroused by him, so he cannot answer them. But by learning it in speech, speaking it out, so the questions and the contradictions are all settled. Because the seichel, as it is from its source, that's a very clear. There's no leftover, there's no mix of anything over there, no impurities. There's pure seichel. So therefore, when one brings down the seichel into speech, that through doing that, the seichel extends as it is in its root, like before. So it becomes very clearly, and there's no question, and there's no contradiction at all.